So we have seen encapsulation, inheritance, and constructor uses, and now another two are pending. One is polymorphism, another one is abstraction. So we'll discuss, first polymorphism, then let's move on. Okay, what is polymorphism? So poly means many, so you all know this. A morphism is a change. So that means how can you perform one task in different ways? So that is known as a polymorphism. And suppose you are talking with your friends, very jovial, right? That's one way. Here you're speaking with the friends, with you're speaking with your employee, your colleagues, or your parents. So different ways you will perform, right? The way, so you speak with people different ways. So that's was best example for this polymorphism. So the speaking is common thing, but the way you perform is different. And so how can we achieve this polymorphism is two ways you can do that. One is method overloading and method overriding. These are the two techniques you will use to achieve the polymorphism. Again, polymorphisms are two types: compile time polymorphism, runtime polymorphism. So compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism, and we'll discuss runtime polymorphism in the next session, or once method overloading is done. And compile time polymorphism is basically, it's a when you overload the static methods, you will get the compile time polymorphism. That's example for compile time polymorphism. If you overload the static methods, a compile time polymorphism takes place there. And what is method overloading? Method overloading, we have seen constructor overloading. Now here, method overloading. So what is constructor overloading definition?
We can add the different parameters. Constructor overloading, different data type.
But what is constructor overloading? The main definition is important. So first you should understand. Yesterday, remember our example, what I told you, the cookie example. What we did, just tell in your own words.
When you declare the constructor with the same parameters, number of employees.
Ramzi, did you remember what I did in the cookie class? What we did in the cookie class?
One class can have multiple constructor, so we can add the parameters. So
yeah,
we can call the parameters.
Okay, so almost you are close, Swati. Yeah, so a class can have multiple constructors with the same name but different parameters, right? That is the definition. Here method overloading is similar. A class can have multiple methods with the same name but different parameters. So different parameters, but method name is same, but multiple methods. Same method name, you have multiple in the class. So such class is called following a method overloading concept. So such methods are called method overloading. Method name is same, but parameters are different. Then why do you need such kind of provision? So for example, if you want to perform same operation having the same name of the method is going to increase the readability of the program, one thing. Otherwise, if you give a different method names, how many you will remember like that? It's a difficult, right? So that's what it will increase the readability of your code, and also easy to identify the methods also. Only arguments will change. That's it. The action is same. Suppose you take a one payment option on e-commerce websites. So it has like several options you have to pay. So one is through net banking you can do, or credit card, or debit card, or wallets. So many options you have. So this means that a payment method is overloaded several times to perform single payment. So the here to make payment is a one method which is overloaded with the net banking, or payment with the credit card, or payment with the debit card, or payment with the wallets. So many ways. So the payment is a one method, single method. So you're doing payment only, whatever it is, right? You need to pay, but how you are paying? So it's overloaded. So that's the example, best real-time example for method overloading. So the advantages of method overloading, basically it will increase the readability of the program. And how many ways you can overload the method? Two ways you can overload the method. One is by changing the number of arguments, and second one by changing the data type of the parameter. And third one, that's not possible. Method overloading is not possible by changing the return type of the method. Right, return type in the method signature line, right? Method name before keyword. If you change that, it's not possible. Only arguments. If you change the parameters, then you can achieve the method overloading. So why method overloading is not possible? By changing the return type of the method. So method overloading is not possible by changing the return type of the method, because so there may occur ambiguity. That means confusion arises. So that's why so it's not possible. So let me show you what is the ambiguity you're going to get it. So I'll explain that while writing the code. But answer you have to give this. There may occur ambiguity. Can we overload the main method? Yes. So you can do overloading a main method. Main method you can overload. So you can have any number of main methods in the class by method overloading. So that also I'll show you that. So this is all about method overloading concept. So let's go and complete this coding, and we'll come back to method overriding. Okay. Okay. See here now method overloading demo, one class we created. And we see we have multiple methods with the same name. See here sum, int A, int B. So which is a return type method, method name here also same and here also same. So what is the difference between this one and the second one? So here two parameters. In this method name is same. So first condition itself, it should be a same method name. If we change the method name, that's not a overloading. Method name should be same and arguments should be different. So you see here two arguments, but here three arguments here. Three parameters, basically. You can say three parameters. Two parameters and here three parameters. So that means how compiler will identify these two methods. If you give the, while calling the method, if you give two parameters, and that will go to this body. If you give three parameter values, it will go to this body. That means this method will be called. So based on the number of arguments you are going to pass for the method while calling, and the call will go to that method body. So this is how method overloading works. See here, changing the parameter data type. You can see here. So here parameter integer. Here integer A double B. So here count is same 2, and here count here also 2, but what is the difference between this one and this one? One parameter data type is different. So such cases, if any methods parameters are same, if you want to follow the method overloading concept, at least one parameter data type should be different. Then they will follow the method overloading concept. And first point is method names must be same. Because same, you are doing a sum operation. So you can do sum of both integers, one integer, one double, or one integer, one float, or three integers. So these are the different ways you are performing the sum operation. So this is the method of overloading concept. See here, this is covering these two, covering the first point. Which point? What is the point? By changing the number of parameters. What is the second point where we are covering? We are covering here second point. So by changing the data type of the parameter. So 2 points I covered. Now I want to cover third point. See this. Can you see this? Sum int A comma int B, return A plus B. Return A plus B. So public static double sum int A comma int B. So what is this? Here also int A int B, here also int A int B. Then what is the difference between these two? Return type of the method I am changing. So what is the point I told you here? When you method of overloading is not possible by changing the return type of the method. If you change the return type of the method, it won't work out. So it is throwing a error. What is the error? Duplicate method it is saying. Duplicate method it is saying. So you cannot achieve method of overloading by changing the return type of the method. By changing the return type of the method. If you change the return type of the method, it's not possible. Right? Okay. Now, so so it's not possible. That's why I'm going to comment out this. Okay. That's why I want to show you. So are you clear on these two? All 3 points.
Yes, Ramesh.
Yes, Ramesh.
Yeah. So here, if you change the return type of the method, it's not possible. But if you change the parameter data type, it is possible. So the third point also example for this. Okay, comment out. Now let's come to main method. Can you overload the main method? Yes, we can overload the main method. So public static void main string str, public static void main integer here. But there is a main method which is used for execution, right? This is the one. These are not execution methods. These are your custom main methods you are writing. But main execution one is only this one only. Execution one is this one only. So this is the execution one. These are not execution ones. These are a different method. These are different main methods, which are different parameters. See, here is string, here integer, but here, see, method name is same for all of them. But what is the difference? The arguments, the parameters. Here, this arguments data type is a string array. Here, this parameter data type is an integer. Here, this parameter data type is a string. So that is the main method how you can overload. So now you can call main method if you give with a Java. So where it will go? Where is the linkage for this? The linkage is for this body. So this one, the linkage is for this body. Okay. So the linkage is here for this one. Okay. So this is how you know it will be called. So here there is one more concept is coming up here, the binding concept. So binding means the connection between method call. This is the method call, right? Method call to method body is called binding. So what is that binding mean? The method call to method body. Method body means this one, here to here. So here to here. This is the method body. So the connection between method call to method body is called binding. Bindings are two types, static binding and dynamic binding. Static binding also called early binding. Dynamic binding also called late binding. So static binding, when it occurs is when you to overload the static or your class is having a static methods, private methods, final methods, then static binding takes place. So when static binding takes place, when the method has a static final keywords or private keywords, that time static binding takes place. So dynamic binding means objects, so runtime objects. So that time you will get a dynamic binding. So these are the examples for static and dynamic binding and method overloading concept. So here you can see sum 7, 9, both integers. Obviously the call goes to this body. If you give 10, 9.5, the controller goes to this body. And then 3, 5, 15, the controller goes to this body. So this is how the call will go to that respective method body and logic will export for us. So this is the method overloading concept. Any questions? So I'm just summarizing. Method overloading means, method overloading definition is a class can have multiple methods with the same name but different parameters is called method overloading. So why do you need to perform method overloading? If you want to perform the same operation with different parameters, you should go for the method overloading. And if you follow method overloading, and so readability of your code will be improved. That is the method overloading. And how can you achieve this method overloading is, one is by increasing the number of parameters, and second one is by changing the parameter data type. And method overloading is not possible by changing the return type of the method. And main method also you can overload. So main execution one is always this one only. So you cannot think these are the execution ones. No, only this is the one execution one. Whatever you write under this main method, that will execute. These are your customized main methods. But execution one is this one only. Okay, so that's the method overloading means. Method overloading, again, an example for compile time polymorphism. That's all. Any questions before moving on to the method overriding? Very good. Okay, let's move on. So if you're silent, I'm considering you're good. Okay, so next one is, second way to achieve the polymorphism is through method overriding. See, method overloading is happening in the one class, but multiple methods with the same name, parameters are different. Method overriding means it happens between two classes. It happens between two classes. So if the subclass has the same method name as declared in the parent class, so child class and parent class has the same methods, both, but even same method, same parameters also. But the logic, whatever you are going to write in the child class method is different than parent class method. That is the method overriding. That means you are overriding the parent class method logic with the child class method logic. You can write a different, you don't want to disturb that method, but you want same method name, same parameters. You want to write or you want to improve the functionality of that method, or you want to write a different functionality for the same method, then you can go for method overriding. Sir, why I can use the same, right? No, you want to develop a different functionality, or functionality you want to add extra. You cannot disturb the parent class because parent class method is used by many people. You don't want to disturb that. And you want to create a same method but a different logic, then you go for the method overriding. So basically, if the subclass provides a specific implementation of the method, specific implementation you are going to provide. So that has been already provided, one of its parent class is known as a method overriding. That is called method overriding. So the usage of Java method overriding is, so it provides the specific implementation of method that is already provided by its superclass. So method overriding is used for runtime polymorphism. So you are going to use this. So example for so the method overriding is for runtime polymorphism. Method overloading is an example for compile time polymorphism. Okay. Method overriding means. So method must have same name as in the parent class. Method must have same parameter as in the parent class. So method also should be same in both child and parent class. Parameter also should be same, whatever the in the parent class, same parameter data type and parameter name you can mention in the child class also. So child class implementation should be different than parent class method. So what is the difference mean? The logic. So parent class method logic, child class method logic, both are different. It's not same. So that is the parent class and child class. Logics are different, but you have to maintain inheritance between the two classes. That's the main concept. If you want to achieve method overriding, this must be applied. Inheritance must be applied between the two classes. Then what is runtime polymorphism or a method? So dynamic method dispatch. So this method overriding happens only at a runtime only. So that's why it is going to happen with the non-static methods only, not with the static methods. And so basically, what is a runtime polymorphism? What is a dynamic method dispatch? So it is one of the process where a call to a overridden method is resolved at runtime only. So that means you are telling, okay, based on your object, the call will go to that method, or child class method or parent class method. Which method you want to call? So based on your object type, at the runtime only decided, right? Runtime means you are creating object. When you create object only, it will be decided. That is called runtime polymorphism. So in the runtime polymorphism process, you will always left side your parent class, that reference variable will be used. Reference variable data type will be always a parent class. And the right hand side is child class object will be pointed to parent class reference variable. So that is also called, so runtime polymorphism concept. So here the main concept is here. So when a reference variable of parent class is referring to object of child class, that is also known as upcasting. So what do you call that? You will call that as a upcasting. So parent class reference variable equal to new child class. So this is the upcasting we call, our runtime polymorphism we call this. See, parent class, that reference variable, the data type of this reference variable is parent class. And this new child class is object is pointing to the parent class reference variable. Parent class reference variable. So that is called runtime polymorphism. So both are is a relationship is maintaining, and so that's the runtime polymorphism or upcasting means. And can we override the static methods? No, you cannot override the static methods. So static methods, so not possible to override. Why we cannot override the static methods? Because static method is bound with a class, whereas instance method is bound with the object. So static belongs to class area and instance belongs to heap area. That's the so why you should not override static methods. See, class area and heap area, both are heap area will be only at runtime. So this runtime polymorphism is at runtime only it will be decided. but not at a compile time or before this class area will be called, even before the loading. The compile time itself will be loaded. That's why we cannot after class load, this will be loaded. So we don't want that memory at all used in that runtime. So can we override Java main method? No. So if you're not overriding a static method, means main method also static. So you should not override. So that is another interview questions. All these are. Can we override the private methods? No, you cannot override because private methods are not accessible in the child classes. So how can you stop overriding the methods? So you have to make the method, any method, private, static, and final. Then you cannot override those methods. So if you make them so private, static, and final, you cannot override such kind of methods. So this is how you can stop the method overriding. Suppose you take a simple example. There is a method get interest rate, which returns the interest rate of a bank. So because RBI is the superclass, which returns a 7 for the rate of interest. There are various other banks like SBI, Axis, ICICI. They have their own rate of interest. How can you get that? So you override this get rate of interest and define. So this particular bank related rate of interest you define in that class. So SBI extends RBI and then get rate of interest method you override. And so then you can give your own value for this SBI. And Access you can give your own value. And ICICI you can give your own value. So that overriding, so you are doing, that's why you can define in your own way. So this is called method overriding. Okay. So that's a method overriding means. What is the difference between method overloading and method overriding? So this is a very important interview question. So please focus this area. So polymorphism is another very widely asked question, in the interviews. So let's see what is method overloading and overriding differences. Method overloading is used to increase the readability of the program. Method overriding is used to provide the specific implementation of the method that is already provided in its parent class. And second point, method overloading is performed within the class. Method overriding occurs in two classes. So they must use the easy relationship, that means inheritance process. So in case of method overloading, parameter must be different. Parameter must be different. In case of method overriding, parameter must be same. So method overloading is an example of compile time polymorphism, and method overriding is an example of runtime polymorphism. So in Java, method overloading cannot be performed by changing the return type of the method, and the return type must be same in the method overriding case. So that's the main differences. At least a few high-level differences you remember. At least 3 you need to give. Otherwise, it's not good. Okay. So that's all about. Let's go and write the this program of this main. You remember this. This one is used in the Selenium. First line of code is this is the one you will write. Runtime polymorphism is followed there. First line of code, web driver equal to new Chrome driver. That follows this runtime polymorphism concept. Okay. So let's come back and we'll write the program and we'll continue. Okay. Thank you.